Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. I am so pleased that March is coming to an end. Historically, in my lifetime, January, February, March have not been very good months in my life. April tends to be a little bit better, and then it gets better and better. I tend to have seasonal depression. It's not so bad here in Phoenix because it doesn't really snow or get cold or anything like that. In fact, it's probably some of the more pleasant months of the year here in Phoenix. But the beginning of the year tends to bring a lot of turbulence to my life. But this year was no exception, except that I've kind of taken the turbulence in stride instead of panicking. What had happened is that at the beginning of the year, you may remember my big resolution was to network with as many people as possible. At the end of last year, I went to a speed dating event. And so after that, I remember telling myself the whole world is just an 8 billion person speed dating event. And the reason I want to do it that way is because when I thought back to my past, very seldom do I regret or get upset about being rejected, right? At least in the long term. Yeah, immediately it hurts, right? You'll never hear me going around 5, 10 years later, or even a year later, going that I'm still upset that I got rejected. I might tell it as a funny story, but very seldom am I actually going to get physically hurt by that. What I will get physically hurt by is not even making the move in the first place, and then wondering what would have happened. Right? You can probably find many stories that I tell on the Peter Dislike Show where I talk about all that. Right? And so I resolved to make the whole world an 8 billion person speed dating event. Does it always turn right? Of course not. Sometimes it could turn out really embarrassingly. I just had to excuse myself from a group where it didn't turn out right, right? And then I go to a different group, but at least I can mark that off now, right? And then I'll probably, the groups rotate so much anyway. I'll probably go back 2 months later when it's a different group, or they don't remember anymore, and then try again, right? I'd much rather do that than 2 months later wondering what would I've what might have turned of that, right? So uh, the new year came, and for some reason that I still cannot explain, I reactivated an online dating profile that I had not used in 6 years, actually more like seven. And so I logged onto the profile when I was a guest, and what I saw I had written 7 years earlier. Got to remember, I used to have an eating disorder, and not only did I have an eating disorder, I was really proud of it. I wrote on the profile that I had eaten 150 bananas in one sitting at one point, and I was so proud of it. And not surprisingly, I weighed a little bit more than, although I have to be careful now. My eating disorder has kind of returned with a vengeance. I'll get back to that in a moment. I got to be careful now. I was overweight and I was bragging about the eating. At the time, I used to love to go out to stargaze. I had a lot of pictures of, I had, among other things, planets in conjunction, lunar eclipses. Didn't have Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction, though. I had already given up on the dating at that point in time. And that was a good trip down memory lane. But I had to get rid of that to start over because I had a brand new shiny hobbies to boast on there. Although I can't do that anymore because of the tariffs. It's just funny how life is always in motion, right? I had a brand new shiny hobby to post on there, and it lasted a couple of weeks until Trump took it away. And obviously new photos of myself. And before I knew it, I was chatting with a girl in Nangang in Taiwan, and we had a really good time. Unfortunately, that was the last day of my trip, and I had to fly home the next day. When we took the train back to Taiwan, she had to get off before I did. When she walked off the train, I felt so heartbroken. It was like part of me disappeared into the crowd. But then I got back to my hotel and I reminded myself of two things. First of all, I got family in Taiwan. I could always come back. And second, if I could do it once in Taiwan, maybe I could do it again back home, right? After all, it had only been a few days since I had reactivated that dating profile, right? And I remember doing the math. If I can meet somebody like this every 5 days, here in 2025, I can meet 70 other girls, right? And I remember thinking in that regard, maybe that's not the end of the world. I got on the plane. I don't remember how I flew back home. I was so heartbroken. I got home and I quickly realized that I had a number of other things to work on. I, you see, I hadn't dated in a few years, and I quickly realized why I hadn't been dating in a few years. I started dating again. I realized that it was running my bandwidth very thin. I was getting into arguments with everybody else around me. I was neglecting things at work. One day, I teach at Glendale Community College. Every semester, my boss sits in on one of the classes, but I forgot the day that she was going to sit in until the day of, and I was ill prepared and all that, and I got a so-so performance review. I could have done a whole lot better had I remembered what day it was. And the reason I forgot what day it was because of all the ups and downs of dating, right? One minute I'm gonna see her, the next minute she has a family emergency, the next she's excited, the next moment she's she's upset about something I raved about on Facebook, up and down and up and down, and that will quickly destroy any sort of emotional stability that I had. And then I forget that today was the performance review. I forget to finish my grading, and I'm ill prepared for. I forget to review something before the class, just stuff like that. I don't know how people handle it. I actually think that we could. I actually think in some ways I have it worse than my peers who are taking care of their families. In a previous life, I was often asked to fill in for people who had childcare issues. I don't think I'll ever do that again. Next time somebody asks, I'll maybe jokingly ask, "Hey, how about the next time? The next time I have a busy dating season, would you fill in for me?" Or maybe next time I should say that. I really should. I really should. And see what happens. I don't know. Plus, it will throw the word out there that I'm still single, right? It might the word might just land in the right person's ears, right? Without having to actually ask somebody if they know anybody. I could just casually say, would you fill in for me when I'm busy with dating, right? I don't know. That might not be a bad idea actually. Now that I think about it, and then I started eating like crazy again. I got myself involved with the girl in Taiwan. This past month, our conversation really kicked into a high gear. And then I started eating again. I was grossed out of my mind. Last Wednesday, I had to give a midterm exam. And as soon as I sat back down to proctor the exam, I started doodling on a piece of paper that I had. And I was thinking about all the damage I had done to my body the last couple of days. It was a Wednesday, the midterm exam. And I started doodling everything I had eaten Monday, Tuesday, and the first part of that Wednesday. And I was grossed out of my mind. And keep in mind, this is me recalling what I had eaten. I probably forgot half the stuff that I ate. And I was grossed out of my mind. I literally walked up to the trash can in the classroom because I felt like I might vomit. I didn't. But I vowed to myself that I'm not going to eat for the next at least 24 hours to make up for it. That was probably not the best decision. It was an emotional decision at that point, where you never want to do these things out of emotion. And then I went on the fast, and then on Thursday afternoon I felt very woozy, and I collapsed on the bench at campus. I hope my students didn't see me there. And then on Friday, we had a carnival at the college campus where I teach. And I'm very close with some of my students, good rapport and all that. And I was telling just after class, small chat. I was telling some of my former students at the student union how upsetting it is that some of the carnival rides don't let you ride alone, and how I love these carnival rides, and I'm still looking for the right person. And one of my students, she's only She's only 17 years old. She can't believe that I can't meet anybody. And she said she would like to go out with me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what it was. So Thursday night, I was once again messed up again, and I started eating again. And then on Friday, we had texted a couple of times, and then she was late getting to the carnival. And so I wasn't very comfortable being there without somebody supervising the whole thing. So I asked her, if her family's coming, it'd be nice to meet the rest of the family. I kind of spun it in that direction. And she said her older sister is going to come, so that's good. And then they were late. And then before they came, I finished an entire bag of Boulder Canyon chips, avocado oil, and then I wasn't sure if they were going to show anyway. I was just about to leave in disgust when they showed, and so my facial expression was kind of in the wrong place, and my emotions were in the wrong place, and all that. And so we got on one of the rides that spins and crushes you, and I almost got crushed to death by the girl, and that felt really good. You see, one of my biggest fantasies is to be murdered by some girl that I love, right? So for example, if I'm a big fan of Mary Curry, right? If she would slowly poison me with something that she discovered, oh my God! And only toward the end did I figure out that she was the one who was doing it. Oh my God, that would feel so good, right? Better yet, if I'm also a big fan of Elisa Genazzi, first place winner of Polish Idol season 1. If she would put her hands around my neck and strangle me and sing about how great it is to kill me while she's doing it, oh my God, that would feel so good, right? I don't know. I just have weird fantasies. So when I was being crushed to death on the ride by the girl, I felt so good. I actually passed out the last couple of seconds of that ride. And then I went home. I couldn't believe my fortunes, and I started eating again. And so I really need to fix things before I mess something up, because not only am I eating too much, but the relationship with the food is getting to the better of me at times. All right, well, 3 months in, hopefully I'll better next season. Please pray for me by leaving a like on this video. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.